I'm Geeky Amreeki,
I'm Parkinson White.
and you're watching Distant Socializing. So, why don't you tell everybody your name, who you are, where you're from?
I'm Parkinson White. I'm from Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm a music producer. I've been producing for 10 years, but not like, Parkinson White. Parkinson White's been going on for like 6 years.
You've already said it, but you are a music producer. You look like somebody who used to have to do people's homework. But why did you become a music producer?
Oh, it's harsh. Yeah,
I'm the
anyway.
same way, dude. I'm
Uh,
just not wearing them right now because they reflect. You dress cool, you dress classy and stuff, but you're not like, check me out. Look at the fit, look at the drip. You wouldn't know it. It's
yeah.
like when you run into like an old man and you don't know he's a kung fu master. You know what I'm saying?
I did music production just because I've always really liked music. My mom always said that I sang before I could speak, which I think is like total bullshit. But anyway, she said I used to like hum and stuff. I don't know if that means anything. I played the drums when I was a kid. It's funny because I started playing I just started like playing the guitar, like messing about with it, not actually playing notes, just strumming it. My mum and dad, they bought me like this little guitar for Christmas one year, and I was like low key really gutted because I actually wanted to get a drum set. but yeah, later on got a drum set and we got pretty good at that. My dad, he got FL Studio. He got it for fun. Like, he never really went anywhere with it. That was the first time I saw it when I was a kid. I installed it again when I was like 13, 14, I think. Started like making absolute rubbish. Yeah, I just did it all the time, and then eventually I got pretty good at it.
You got to do that. I mean, like, even if I look at some of my videos now that people published and we're like, oh, check this video out, it's amazing. And I'm just like, Jesus, that is horrendous. I didn't know the stuff about shutter speeds and certain lights will cause a flicker. I was like, how do I get rid
Yeah,
of this flicker? I don't know. I guess I'll keep it in the video. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, man, you
That's
got
what
to
it's
start
like.
somewhere.
Fans that still like they'll message me and they'll be like, "Oh, I really like this song that you made back in the day. Why didn't you ever release it?" And I'm like, "Why do you like that? That song is ass. Like, why do you
Yeah,
like
but
that?"
see, that's the thing. You're saying that because you've heard it for years or whatever. Like, I used to make beats as well. I had like 30 or so. I had this software called like EJ or I can't.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. No, do you know what? That's one of the first things I saw. That
yeah.
is because there was Rebirth, and then we had EJ on a CD,
Hmm.
and it was like you had the tab, or you had like the library on the left hand side, and it was just like loops that you could just
Yeah,
mash
you put them
together.
in,
Yeah,
or you can like, if you really were like OCD about it, you could like tweak them and move them around and do a bunch of stuff. So I used that for a long
yeah.
time, and I ended up like
Hmm.
importing my own sounds, sonnets from Beethoven and crickets and all this weird stuff.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
cool. I didn't
started
know you
putting
could do
that.
that.
But then the problem was when they went to a new Windows, I can't remember which one it was, but it was like 2009 or 10, whatever new Windows came out then, it made the software not work anymore. So I just
Hmm.
was like, I don't know how to do anything else. So I guess I'm done making beats. For me, filmmaking and YouTuber and vlogging and all this kind of stuff now is my full-time job, but for a long time it wasn't. So is this your full-time gig or what do you do?
I would like it to be, but truth be told, I'm not that much of a driven person. To keep it like 100%, I'm not really that
Oh, I know. I
too
have a
driven.
question about that later.
Okay. Aside from that, I'm doing this thing called Code Clan. It's a 16-week crash course in full stack app development. So I'm on week 9 now. I've just done my JavaScript project and I'm about to learn Java.
You're already a pretty techie guy, so I can imagine that you'd be able to come up with some pretty good stuff.
I thought that too, but it's pretty hard.
Well, yeah, for sure. I watched a friend of
I'm
mine
finding.
who had never developed an app before. He got paid like a good amount of money to develop this app for this health place. Man, it was so ambitious. It took him like 6 months to make the thing, but it was
Wow.
amazing. It was better than like Zomato and MyFitnessPal or whatever. It was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all of that stuff put together plus check-ins. It was insane, dude. And
Um,
then they were like, okay, this is great, but we decided we're not going to go with an app. He did that work for nothing.
we did. a recipe finder app. We used something called an API. It's basically a thing that you can retrieve data from that interacts with the app. Application Programming Interface, that's what it is. So you can get different themed APIs. So yeah, we did a recipe finder one. Well, the idea was you could put your contents of your fridge into it and type them in, and then just hit enter, and it would bring back recipes that you can make. If there's a couple of ingredients you don't have on the list, it'll still suggest one, and then it'll show you the ingredients you don't have.
Oh, that's cool.
But we did that in 4 days. That was hard. That was
It works?
It works, but like it's not fully functional yet. It doesn't do like the shopping list. My friend Danielle, she used it. She made chana masala.
Well, for 4 days, that's pretty good.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
I mean, you can definitely do both. You know what I mean? Like, I always recommend people don't switch specifically just to what you love or whatever, because they say if you do what you love, it never feels like work. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I was a firefighter in the Air Force full time. You know that. And this is 10 times harder than that was. I showed up to the office, and if I got a call, I went and rescued or helped somebody. We trained, we cleaned, we exercised, and then for the rest of the day, like, we would chill, watch TV, play volleyball, whatever, and then go to bed and then go home. And then I had 24 hours off. For this, man, it is constant between the social media and the graphics.
Around the clock.
Yeah, man, it's like 90 to 100 hours a week, if not more. So it's a lot. When did you know for sure, like, that you wanted to make beats? Like, what made you say, you know what, I love this, so I'm going to do this?
Honestly, I think it was like the first time I'd heard of an artist called Young Thug. He's a rapper, my favorite rapper of all time. I heard like how his beats sounded. I wanted to make beats that sounded like that, and I never could.
No, that's good, because no one sounds like you.
Oh man,
which is good.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
But yeah, there's a reason I bump your stuff, dude. And there's a reason I listen to very few like mumble rap, trap type stuff, because it mostly sounds the same. Especially that snare, that robot snare that they all use. I'm like, come on, dude.
I think it's the Young Chop snare you're talking about.
Since you've been doing music, have you been featured in any shows or video games or ads, or have any rappers collaborated with you or anything?
No. No.
I thought you did some music for some games.
Me and Glassy, like our first release, the Sapphire EP. Sapphire got put on Ollie Ollie 2, skateboarding arcade game. That helped the sales of the EP really well. Me and Dub Scout, we did this thing called Secret Soundtracks. It's got video game style stuff that we had made.
That's the one I was thinking of.
That one's actually got purpose. That's for like indie developers.
Yeah, I remember that. You like put that in the description. That was a really cool project, and I love Dub Scout. Like, yeah, I've used a couple of his songs in some videos, like a dance video with Dose, and that's why when I saw it was you and him collaborating, I was like, "Ooh, I got to hear this." And then the fact that it was video game related, I was like super stoked.
He still produces under Dub Scout, but he produces and like he's a singer as well. And everyone should go and check out Tom. He's really, really good. We've got a song together as well called Runaway. It's like super poppy. It's a cool
that's
song.
the one that came out after Ocean Blue, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The picture's like an alleyway.
Yeah, it's a guy running along a road.
Yeah. That is a nice song. It's good. I didn't realize that was him. That's good.
Yeah, that's Dub Scout singing. Dub Scout, he's a developer as well. He does app development, and he knows how to make games too. He's like made his own little projects in the past. That's why we bounce off really well. He's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah, man, you got to make some type of rhythm game. I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah, man! I've like
that little spaceship thing. That spaceship game came out, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then, man, it just blew up, and it's so simple.
There was a really good desktop one called Audio Surf from years ago.
Yeah, that's the one.
Game you just use. Yeah, when you just use your mouse.
Yeah. Any current or upcoming projects? No.
I can't. No.
Too busy working on apps.
No. Yeah, honestly, I don't worry. I still make music. That's the main thing. I still make music, and I just.
You're like the Tool of SoundCloud.
The Tool of sound, yeah, exactly.
Like nothing for a long time, and then there'll be like 2 or 3 or 4 bangers, and you're like, "Oh man, this is awesome!" And then like, "All right, I wonder what I'm going to hear in another year or so."
I wish I had a bit more of a business mindset when it came to my music. I just don't pull the finger out as much when it comes to my production, and I get lost in like actually just doing it. It's fun. It's kind of like a stress reliever. You know, you've made a good song when you start dancing around your room. I spend like most of my time dancing around my room, just like waving my arms and stuff.
Yeah, you put those on Instagram sometimes.
Yeah.
When I hear music, I don't really hear a lot of hip hop influences. I hear a lot of like video game influences, maybe some electro and EDM influences, but it definitely has like a hip hop vibe. It's for sure like a lot of the beats are hip hop, especially like you have a penchant like I do for like really heavy snares and stuff, but who are your favorite producers and why?
Joker is one of them, if you've heard of Joker before. Dubstep. There's a genre name that gets thrown around quite a lot, purple music. And that's what me and like the likes of Dub Scout, Glassy put under the purple genre. Joker kind of started all that. There's like a song of his called Tron. It's like
Uh,
a dubstep song, but it's just got this like really different vibe to it, and it just kind of sparked stuff off. Rusty
mhm.
is another one. Rusty's really, really good. Really, really inspired by his stuff. There's a lot. I'd say there's quite a lot of similarity between my music and his. It's not because I love Scotland so much, because he's from Scotland too, and Hudson Mohawk as well. Hudson Mohawk is another big influence. And then in terms of like hip hop producers, I really like Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl is amazing. Metro Boomin. There's lots of them. The thing I don't stick to one thing. It's really hard for me to like pull it all down and go, yeah, like okay, this is who I like the most. I like this person better. You know, it totally depends on my mood.
Old school hip hop producers and stuff. Like which ones?
Nujabes, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I knew Jabbies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's great. Jay
yeah,
Dilla.
yeah. Those are usually the
Yeah.
first two.
Uh,
Those would be like the first two that I would normally say too. What sucks is
yeah.
they either have the same birthday or they both died on the same date.
I think I looked that up the other day.
What really sucks is they were both just getting started, man.
They're both really young as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they completely changed everything.
The anime Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, of
You heard
course.
of that?
Sharp like the edge of a
Yeah.
samurai sword. Believe me, I've seen it a million times. Like the transit.
Yeah.
If you guys have never watched Samurai Champloo, I highly recommend it. Just like the scene transitions where he throws his hat, and it's also a record.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And when they
Yeah.
ask
It's
those guys for
fantastic.
directions, the two guys start beatboxing, and the one raps the directions, and then
Oh yeah.
they just walk off, and they're looking at him like, what just happened? But yeah, man, that's so good, and the animation style, and it's still one of
Hmm.
my tops. You know, there's a
Yeah.
reason why Quentin Tarantino said, I want you guys to do the anime part of Kill Bill for me, because he saw that and he was like, oh shit. I would usually say those two guys, and then also I love RZA, especially the older stuff.
Hmm.
Premier, obviously, Pete Rock. And one that never gets mentioned as much as Havoc from Mobb Deep. I love the Mobb Deeps. Their first four well, technically not their first four. Infamous and Above. Their first one was like, It's kind of like the Fugees. Nobody realizes the Fugees had a CD before the score or whatever.
Right.
I had it and I was like, But then the score came out and I was like, whoa, my goodness, those are probably mine.
Hmm. Ty Dolla $ign is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Ty Dolla $ign's amazing. He's like, I look up to him big time. I think he's a fantastic artist, and his beats are incredible.
Yeah, a lot of the newer producers, man, that are doing like the trap and the mumble stuff and everything, the beats are just insane.
Yeah.
Basically, the beat and the hook or the chorus are why people like the songs.
Dare I say, producers don't get enough credit at the moment. They
Yeah.
really don't.
So, what does your family think about your music producing and your music, your beats and stuff?
They're supportive of it. They don't listen to it though. They don't listen to it. It's a taste thing. I fully understand that my music is like niche, so not everyone is going to enjoy it. It's not really necessarily popular music. There are certain songs they really like. Like they like that cover I did, the Ocean Blue cover.
I don't think anybody could
Um,
dislike that song, though, to be honest, man. You guys, he has a song called Ocean Blue, and just, it's so good, man. It's one of my
it's
favorite
a
songs that I've ever heard.
it's a cover of a song called Ocean Blue by Monica. It's from this film called Hunt for the Wilder People. Go
Taika
and watch that
Waititi.
film. It's written by Taika Waititi. That film is my favorite. I love
Anything
that
Taika
film so
Waititi
much.
does is just gold. I think it's not just a taste thing. What you're saying with the family. I think a lot of times is friends and family, if they're close to you, that's just him making his music thing, you know. Because I have friends who are like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, I watch your show all the time," and I'm like, "Bruh, don't tell me you watch my show all the time, because I get like 20 views a video, so I know you're not watching my stuff." I know of a few that do, but I'm like, I don't think you're one of them. So obviously, is it last year? I think that you lost your father, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right. You know, like even I, when you put that thing out, I was super bummed out because every time you put up anything about your dad, he was always like smiling and goofing and
Hmm.
dancing or whatever, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what did he think of your music and stuff, especially since you kind of started with his software?
He really did support my music. He made a SoundCloud account and he would like repost my music and stuff. Like, and like if I posted stuff on Facebook, he would share it like all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, he did. Like, he fully supported my stuff.
Do you do live shows? Have you done live shows? Do you have any live? Well, I know you don't have any live shows coming up.
No one's got live shows coming up.
Yeah.
No, never done a live show.
Have you thought
Yeah.
about doing like a lot of producers and musicians are doing, like the little live do like this and then you play some music for people, or
Yeah, kind of. I was thinking like for a while I was thinking about doing like a showcase stream where doing something or just chatting and then like in the background you can hear like my music and then like maybe every couple songs I'll like stop talking and I'll be like, okay, here's like a brand new one that you've never heard before.
yeah,
Doing something like that. And I've seen a lot of the beat streams that people are doing where they're making like they're just streaming their DAW and they're like making beats. I was thinking about doing that as well. Yeah, so it'll be like a Twitch stream of just like me in Fruity Loops, like making a song, and
yeah,
then
yeah. That's what
yeah,
I was gonna suggest. Like if you do something like that, even if it's not on Twitch, if you just do like an Instagram live thing,
yeah.
that could be something that's cool. I would tune in.
Yeah,
Like
I could like I could put my camera up at the back, and then you could just see my screen and what I'm doing.
a friend of mine here, he's a really, really good heavy metal guitarist,
That's
and he does
awesome.
like his whole own albums. He does the drums, everything, bass, guitar, sometimes vocals. But like every couple of days, he'll do a thing where he'll just play like 4 or 5 covers. Like people can request the covers. He'll like practice them a little bit, and then a few days later, he does the show.
Also, I want to like plug something else as well. My friend Massey, he works at Boiler Room and he's got something called Crowdsourced that
Mm,
everyone should check out. It's really cool. There won't be episodes right now, obviously, with everything that's going on, but he basically brings artists in. They have a huge folder of, crowdsourced samples. Fans send in like just little things, like random stuff. People send
mhm.
memes. People send farts and burps and stuff like that. It's really cool. They get some like they get nuts artists to go on and just flip all the samples and make something crazy. Like one of my favorite ones is Igloo Ghost. Igloo Ghost has got a really good one. Sam Gallagher's got one, I think. Yeah, he's Scottish as well. I'm not saying all the best
Oh
producers come out of
yeah.
Scotland, but yeah.
Make sure you send me the link for that. Everybody, the link will be in the description below, so you guys can check those out. Why do you never finish a song? I mean, you finish some, and there are songs that I've used, and even some of the ones you haven't finished, I've looped them because
Mhm.
since I used to make beats, I can line them up or whatever. Like I did with the Agile Film Festival song. That was like a 30 or 40 second song, I think, and I just like looped it and faded it together. But yeah, like
Yeah.
you start songs a lot and they'll be super good. And then everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to hear the whole thing. If you do it at all, it's like 2 or 3 years later, like finally did it, here it is. And people are like, oh, finally.
I have this problem where I get stuck on like one part and I think it sounds amazing and I just get too excited over that one bit for ages and ages and ages. I'll say, oh okay, I'll go and work on that song again. But then I go on and I just play the loop and I get excited about it until I just close my computer down again. I think that's the problem. I don't want to say it's because I'm lazy, because if I was lazy, then I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't make the song in the first place. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
there's enough, even ones that you've started, and they always sound, like I said, pretty unique. I always like the video game influence, like the 8-bit, 16-bit of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I used to do like this is how much of a geek that I am, right? I would play games and I would put my boombox next to the speaker
All
and I
right.
would hit record and record the songs onto a tape. Like the very end song when there was this Genesis game, or what do they call it? The Sega Master Drive or whatever. There was a
Uh,
Genesis game called Beast Wrestlers, and most of the music was pretty crappy. It's like and the whole time, and you're just like, oh. But then when you
mm,
beat the game, it has this really great, like upbeat song, and it has like some really good breakdowns, and just like, man, like I still like
yeah,
I have a playlist somewhere on my YouTube, and it has like 20 or 30 16 and 8-bit songs that I love, and it's on there. But I
yeah.
mean, what games in particular have kind of like really become part of you, and then in turn become part of your music?
I would say a game that's come a part of me, but hasn't really come part of my music is Dark Souls. That's like that. I think anyone that like listens to my music quite a lot, they know that I'm an absolute Dark Souls fanboy. I'm obsessed. Like I
Mm,
lost a year of my life to that game,
yeah.
easy. But,
You did
um,
didn't you take some stuff from Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something and put it in some of the songs?
yeah, I did. I did like a little rendition of the final boss of Dark Souls One is Gwyn, and the theme song's really good, and I made like my own version of that. Kind of sounded like an 80s. It had 80s synths in it. It was quite cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I remember that one. And a lot of people were
yeah,
like, "Oh, putting that in the comments, Dark Soul, whatever."
yeah.
What about Mega Man?
Oh, Mega Man. Do you know, my dad had one of those, one of those pirated like mega discs of
Oh,
like
nice.
stuff like on his PC.
Yeah, the
So
emulators.
he built this like we called it the den in his bedroom. Like you go into his bedroom and then he built like a balcony. So like you could climb up the ladder and go onto the balcony thing in the room and his PC was there. And I used to take this like this mega disc of like games. It had like Mega Man. It had like this was like black and white. It was all black and white games. I can't remember if it, like Paperboy was on it and things like
Oh,
that, but
nice.
I remember playing Mega Man quite a lot. There was like every single Mega Man game there.
Did you
It was
finish
really
it?
no, I was way too young. I just used to like and I could do enough to like make him move and shoot, but I could never like beat the levels.
Oh,
I was
okay, okay.
obsessed with
Like,
it though.
because a lot of people I know now, they say, "Oh, I played Mega Man on the emulators and stuff." None of them have ever finished a Mega Man game because
Yeah,
they were
they're
like
tough.
they were notorious for how hard they were, like the
Hmm.
disappearing blocks and that, and you only got a certain amount of lives. And
Yeah, there was one game that me and my dad always used to play, but we never finished it. And we always used the 99 lives cheat, and it was the European port of Contra 3, Super Probotector Alien Rebels. And I always bring that game up because I used to bring my friends round, and like after dinner, me and my friends would play it 2 player. It was so fun. That's one of like that game is like a big inspiration for me in
yeah,
itself as well.
isn't that the one where they start doing some top down levels too? I think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
There's
that
a
is a
level
good.
where there's a huge scorpion that spins around and you've got to
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a good
it's
game. I love
amazing.
that one. Have you seen? And if you guys haven't seen this, I highly recommend that you watch it. Like, you've got to have seen this. If you haven't, like, it's travesty. It's a documentary by an energy drink company. I will not say the name, but it's called "Digging Through the Carts." I think I
Was it
sent you
not
like episode one.
it kind of followed the lives of game composers.
Kind of, yeah. It basically goes from the beginning of video game music, at least in Japan, all the way
Mm,
up until the most current stuff like Final Fantasy,
yeah,
and how it went from how hard it was to do, and like how it started where they had to use like paper and poke holes in the paper, and then
yeah.
insane, dude. And
Hmm.
all the work they had to do, and then it shows that evolution, like when it goes from 8-bit to 16. That
Hmm.
episode is my favorite. It's not just because 16-bit music was so good, but it's also like the way that they edited the scenes from like Japan at night and everything else while the songs are playing. Man, it's so
Yeah.
good. That's one of my favorite documentaries I've ever seen. It goes into like Streets of Rage and like how it was influenced by like the Japanese nightclubs and raves, and it's really cool. But yeah, man, you got to watch the whole thing. You don't have an
Hmm.
excuse now. You're stuck in your house.
Yeah,
So
I need to watch it.
it starts showing more and more producers like Flying Lotus and all these other people who all talk about, a lot of them, they started making music because of video game music, and They
Yeah.
actually have like the LPs and everything and stuff, and they're like playing them. They're like, oh, I remember this, you know. So your dream collaboration with another producer, dream collaboration with a rapper, and in a game company you would love to work with.
Okay, so two I can answer right now. Dream rapper, Young Thug, without a doubt.
Okay.
Uh, I would love to collaborate with. I want to say From Software, the guys that make Dark Souls, but the thing is, I don't know if I think that's like out of my field because it's like really big scores. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like big
yeah, yeah.
scores. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, I don't know if I
Yeah,
could do
like
that.
symphonic and dude, you need to talk to whoever makes like Hotline Miami, and Hotline Miami 2,
Like
all that stuff.
I think honestly, Nintendo. I'd love to make music for Nintendo. I know that's
That's pretty
quite
cool.
umbrella, but you know their music it just slaps. Their games and their music is like so timeless.
Yeah.
It doesn't date. I was talking to my friend about this. Like you can go back and play Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and things like that, right? But it feels like the nostalgia's there, but it feels like okay, it wasn't actually that fun. I was just a kid. But you can go back and play Mario 64 and other old Nintendo games, and it's like it's still as good as it ever was.
Yeah.
And Nintendo are onto something. They just do it better than other developers, I think.
Yeah. Even the original Mario stuff, dude. Do 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 do. Like it's
Yeah,
still.
seriously, it's nuts. So Nintendo, yeah.
Well, who's your like the music you listen to most when you're not?
Actually collaboration. I would really like to work with Tame Impala because I'm gobsmacked about how his work progresses and like I want to see like him just make a song. I think that would be so interesting. He's phenomenal. I know he's a really big name now. His new album just came out in February. It came out on Valentine's Day, and I listened through it, and I was like, eh. But now like I play the whole thing front to back, and I'm obsessed with it.
A lot of my
I love
favorite
albums
albums
like
were
that.
like
You
that.
listen,
Yeah.
yeah, you listen to it the first time, and it's like it's kind of like it's weird because especially if the artist hasn't released something for a long time and you're going back and listening to their old stuff, you're like expecting it to be the same and you're like, oh, I don't really like this. But then
Mhm.
you listen to it again and again and again and you're like, oh, it's like a new one. It's the new Tame Impala. This is really, really cool.
Yeah. Send me the link for that, and I'll put it in the description below. But yeah, what you're saying about Nintendo makes sense too because I have you ever heard of Dirty Drummer? The producer, he's really good, man. He's on SoundCloud and stuff too. But
Okay.
I know you've seen the Wii Sports commercial where they're like, "Bo, bo, 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 bo,
Yeah.
bo, bo." That's him. That's how
Oh,
like
right.
yeah. And I heard that song before I was a filmmaker and everything. And then when I started doing dance videos in Kuwait, I messaged him like, dude, I've been a fan for a while. I'm like, I love Bum Bum Bum, dude, and I have a dancer that would be perfect for that song. Do you mind if I use that in the video? He's like, oh man, do it. It's cool. And I ended up using a few other songs that he did. Like he did this long mix. And the beginning of this mix had like this real antique.
A gramophone.
Yeah, so it sounded like that kind of and like a
Mm.
harpsichord and some other stuff, and I was like, dude. So I grabbed Dose, and I'm like, let's go to this old museum that's closed down, and I'm gonna film this video in black and white. I'm gonna age the footage and everything, and I used the song, and it went perfect, man. It's such a good video. 5 years old, and still one of my favorites. Dose and two other dancers, we were doing that graffiti wall, and I asked them to come out, and I used, I think it was.
Flirty, yeah.
But
The
yeah,
graffiti wall one, I show that to everyone.
yeah. So
I
we've
always
been
show that to them.
collaborating for 5 or 6 years now. So we've
Yeah,
been
it's
supporting each
crazy.
other that long, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the world's ending. Everybody's gonna die, right? And they're only
Okay.
gonna choose like a certain amount of people to keep the species going. And they're gonna put them all on a ship, and they're gonna send them to outer space. And they're letting everybody bring 5 things, whether it be movies or TV shows, games, albums. You get to bring 5 with you. What are your 5 end of the world picks?
Oh man, I like that question.
You're getting to go because you're an artist and you're going to help keep the culture going.
Dark
So,
Souls.
Dark Souls, yeah, I figured that'd be one.
Yeah. Dark Souls 1. I would say a Led Zeppelin album anyone,
Yeah, exactly.
any Led Zeppelin album. Just throw a Led Zeppelin album in there. Super Smash Bros. This is my
Mm.
favorite. It's my favorite fighting game. Here's a message for Complexion. Smash Bros is a fighting game, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's a fighting game. At
Yeah, for
me.
sure, dude.
That's all I'm gonna say. He's gonna be
No,
so angry. He's gonna be so angry. Smash Bros. Led Zeppelin album. Dark Souls. Billy Madison.
stop looking at me, Swan.
That film is so stupid.
Oh, but it's
Billy
amazing, dude.
Madison. Oh yeah.
I saw that 5 times in the theater.
5 times. Oh my
Yeah,
god, man. 5 times.
I
What
loved
the
it, dude,
hell?
so much. Shampoo is better. Anyway, that is
So Billy
correct.
Madison. That film is ridiculous. Bagpipe music.
The
Or just a
Scottish
set of
dude
bagpipes. Yeah.
and with some haggis. I'm
Dark
gonna give
Souls.
you a cheat. Jonathan
Okay.
Davis was on the ship with you, and he chose bagpipes. The lead singer of Korn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Got you,
he's
got
already
you.
on there. He brought us bagpipes, so he freed you up. What would be your fifth thing?
A copy of FL Studio.
FL Studio, yeah, Fruity
Yeah.
Loops. Right.
Get all the people producing.
That's
And
good.
see, yeah, it could be like a little crowdsourced of Dark Souls stuff. We
Hmm.
could extract all the samples from Dark Souls and get a Led Zeppelin sample in there, and then use Jonathan Davis's bagpipes over the top. I might try that. I might actually try and make a song out of all those things.
He's got enough bagpipes on all the records. You could definitely get some stuff. Going back to the Smash Brothers thing, though, it's definitely a fighting game. I never played it. It looks cool, but it's definitely like you got to be on your stuff and the frames and all those things. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a group here called Super Smash Brothers Guitar. They have like a whole group, man. It's like tons of guys from like young kids to like scientists and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. And well, not now, but every weekend, man, they would get together and they would play. They would have a tournament like every Friday. Like they're super
Mm-hmm.
hardcore about it. They play other games, but like that's their game. I mean, that's their whole clique revolves around that. And they have
Yeah.
like whole parties for the new character reveals and stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty great to
Yeah,
watch
man.
because when they reveal it, you see like the last time, which was
Oh no, the last character was Byleth from Fire Emblem, but
yeah,
Joker
that's
was one of the
yeah,
first ones that came out. Yeah.
yeah. The last one was like I guess really divisive, and you
Mm-hmm.
could see a bunch of the guys were like yeah, and a bunch of the other guys were like
Yeah, I was one of the guys going. I couldn't be bothered because
yeah,
that's like the like fifth or sixth Fire Emblem character. I think there's a lot, and
yeah.
yeah,
That's what they were
it
saying.
felt kind of cheap. I'm not gonna lie.
I did like the Banjo Kazooie reveal. That was pretty cool. What are some things you want to tell the people? Like, where should they go to look to check out your music, or just to like talk to you, or interact, or whatever?
You can find all my music on SoundCloud. I'm pretty sure it's soundcloud.com/Parkinson White or Parkinson_White. There'll be a link for it. Um, I use Twitter. It's at Parkinson_White. I don't tweet as much as I should, but I tweet in haikus, and it's quite funny. That's the only
You,
I only tweet in haikus.
oh, nice.
Well, I used to, but I've like adopted it, and now I only tweet in haikus. It's quite fun because I think about it. I'm like, I should tweet today. Then I have to sit and really think about what I'm tweeting.
It,
So it kind of adds a bit of gravity to it.
it's 575, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and usually all my haikus end with "It's snowing on Mount Fuji." That's the Game
Cheater.
Grumps reference.
Yeah.
Instagram is at Parkinson White. I post heaps of snippets on there. I always check my story if you're wanting to find some new music just to hear anything at all.
Well, that's it, man. I appreciate you being on the show, being my first guest on
Yeah,
Distant.
honestly, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man, it was really fun. It's nice to actually talk to you, not via text, for
Yeah,
once.
and voice messages. Yeah, honestly.
Appreciate you coming on, and we'll definitely be talking more. Thanks for supporting
Yeah,
me all these years.
yeah, no problem.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah,
Stay
you too,
safe.
man. Yes, you too.
Stay out of the tube.